I stopped being the guy that people would point at and be like, oh, he sang Glad You Came, or oh my God, he sang My First Dance over and over again. And you kind of, that stopped, and it immediately switched into, that's the guy who's just lost his friend.
You've had a lovely start to the year. You've got 3 tracks out now from this upcoming album. First of all, catch us up. How have you been? Because it's been a while since, obviously, your last debut album.
Yes.
And you're coming back with Ultraviolet,
Yeah.
which is out very, very soon.
Yeah.
Catch us up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just constantly overwhelmed, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
So like after doing the first solo album, I then started writing the next album. That was going well. Just about to go to radio. Decided on singles and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Perfect. Then I had a phone call from Tom and was like, I want to tour. Health's not great. And I was like, right, okay. Rang the label that I'd signed to and been like, you need to let me out of the contract. And they were like, why? I was like, complicated.
Very complicated indeed.
They were brilliant, to be fair. They let us go. I canned the album. I was like, nothing is distracting from this moment for Tom. And yeah, so then did the tour and then decided, like, listening back to the album that I'd made, I was like, doesn't really speak for me anymore. So I started again and scrapped the whole album. And yeah, and now we have Ultraviolet.
I'm really enjoying the sound that we've been treated to so far from it.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm glad, in a way, that you felt, comfortable enough to sort of ditch it. Because, when you pour your heart and soul into writing music and stuff, you can become super attached to it. So it must have been quite, was it difficult to do that? Have you still got, your desire to sort of revisit that style of music, or are you completely in a whole new era now?
I think I'm in a new era.
Yeah.
I might go back to some of them. It's strange looking back. There were some brilliant choruses in there that were a load of fun, and I was kind of obsessed with key changes at the time. And I think there was one song where there was 5 or 6.
It's giving Eurovision, let's be honest.
It was giving, yeah. I was hoping more for Beyonce "Love on Top."
Right, okay. I'm gay. Sorry,
yeah.
I went straight to Eurovision, but the other Beyonce gays would agree.
I was going to say, I was like, Beyonce "Love on Top." I was like, still pretty gay. But yeah, so that's what I was kind of hoping for. But yeah, I think it's kind of, yeah, it's now in a new kind of world, but still kind of bringing that kind of pop energy, but being a little freer, I think, in the verses and things like that.
I want to sort of delve into a little bit. You said already just now about the journey to doing this album. Obviously, started with you're having an album, ditching it to go and do that tour with Tom and the rest of the band.
Yeah.
Then coming back to this album, it's a new era. How did that experience, and did it at all shape how you've done this album? Are there any sort of like things in there where it's been shaped by what's happened?
Yeah, definitely. So the last track on the album, called "Time to Say Goodbye," big kind of power ballad moment, big guitar solo in the middle, lots and lots of vocals. It's like a full on theatre production, and I wrote that song. It's the only track that I wrote before the tour, and then everything else was after the tour.
Right.
So that is kind of just acknowledging that there is a massive chapter of my life that is just about to close, and it's a closing of the book, not just the chapter. And it's coming to peace with that and accepting that, which I think was a really tricky thing to do. But then after the tour, I was like, I want to have fun.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I need to be like, I need to be more kind of happy, I guess, because it was a really sad time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I was at home and I was walking around town and things like that, I stopped being the guy that people would point at and be like, oh, he sang Glad You Came, or oh my God, he sang My First Dance over and over again. And you kind of, that stopped. And it immediately switched into, that's the guy who's just lost his friend. And it was like, like everyone knew.
You're under the spotlight for a completely different reason there.
And it really kind of, it was really difficult because you kind of get used to like, oh, he sings Glad You Came. And you kind of go, yep, that's me. Lovely to meet you. But then when it turned into that, I didn't actually know kind of how to react anymore. So I kind of just locked myself away. And then the only time I was leaving the house was to go to the studio. And I was like, if I'm leaving the studio and driving 3.5 hours to go to London, I need to be happy.
Yeah.
So that's where Butterflies, Getting Lost, Pieces of Me, that's where those songs came from. Just a need to feel happier.
I'm detecting sort of a feeling towards fame and the music industry. How do you feel like, where's your place in the whole industry at the moment? How do you feel? What's your relationship to fame and the music industry and media in general? I mean, we're having a nice time now. I think,
we're having a lovely time.
Great time.
I love this.
Yeah.
Like, I love talking to people. I think it's really nice, especially going to places. I really don't like doing things on Zoom because it just feels so impersonal. So I'm like, let me get in the car and just drive everywhere and just stop and chat to people.
Yeah.
But
it's becoming a lot more trendy now. A lot more artists are getting back on the road.
Really? Good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at Jade, she's just done the record store tour. Sophie Ellis-Bextor's is doing it as well. I think, the old school ways of promoing and connecting with fans are becoming more in vogue.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's really important because you put that groundwork in. But I think my relationship with the industry is really complex. I really hate the business side of it. Labels and all that sort of stuff. I find a little bit soulless. And you're very much seen as a marketing product. And I find that quite difficult. Don't get me wrong. If a record label turned around to me tomorrow and said, "Here's £2 million," I'd be like, "What do you want me to do?"
Right.
And you talk about me all you want in your board meetings. Have a lovely time. But I think now, as an independent artist, I'm getting to have more control and actually navigate where I want to go. And saying yes to a conversation that a record label would be like, no, you can't do that. So it's complex, and the more I've seen of like George Michael doing interviews, like how much he really disliked the industry side of things and just wanted to be an artist.
Yeah,
I relate to that so much.
Yeah. I mean, he really took a situation. Let's talk about that media moment. In the when was it, 90s, early 90s, obviously, where they just really came for him. There's been documentaries about it, and he owned it. And then he ended up doing Outside. That music video is iconic. Just channeling a bit of George Michael then.
Definitely. And I think he's such an inspiring artist in not only musically, but the way that he took back control of his artistry. Because I think it can get so lost, and so many labels are like, "Oh no, don't share that about yourself. Don't share that about yourself. Don't share that." When it's like, actually, you kind of you get to a point where you're kind of fed up of like withholding parts of yourself, and then once you kind of get to a place where you're like, I want to be a bit of an open book. That actually feels really good.
Yeah,
and it's really like heartwarming that your job actually gets easier because you're not kind of filtering what you're saying all the time.
Let's talk about Butterflies, because it is a feel-good track, like you said.
Yes.
We're going to give it a spin on Gaydio. Just before we do, give us a little roundup of what it's about and what you want people to get from it and how you want people to feel. Do you want them to feel Butterflies?
I would like that. I think it'd be really nice. I think it's really like sing-alongable. It's one of those choruses, you hear it once, you're like, okay, yeah, know it. Hopefully happier than that. That's like really annoyed. Oh God, that annoying song.
Heard it that many times. Flipping it. God, we shut up.
But it's and I want people to kind of feel warm and a little bit fuzzy. We're going into winter now, so I want people to kind of feel that warmth of like what was a semi-mild summer. It's kind of, and take that throughout the rest of the year, and think of people that make them feel a little bit kind of like nervous. And I think there's so much kind of negativity in the world, and the world's a pretty scary place at the moment. So I think just kind of locking that down to a really kind of cute relationship with someone and a very simple feeling of having butterflies when they think about someone. I think there is a nice, there's a nice breath when listening to this song. So yeah, I hope people like it.
Let's talk about your album. You're going to be doing another couple of shows this
Yeah.
month. Where are they and what can fans expect?
We're doing the Deaf Institute on the 29th in Manchester.
Yeah.
And we're doing on the 30th, we're doing Islington Academy, which I think is my biggest solo show that I've done.
Whoop, whoop.
Which I think is mad. And I would argue that it's a bit early, but you know, we're there. So it's on sale, and yeah, I'd love it if people found it within their wonderful hearts to come down and see the show. I'm really proud of it. It's the first time that I'm going to be performing the whole of Ultraviolet in its entirety, as well as obviously songs from the past.
Got a few throwbacks in there.
A couple of throwbacks.
Yeah.
The decade old over and over again. Terrifying. This is the last single I released from 10 years ago.
I was just looking back through our Gaydio back catalogue. I was like, Nathan Sykes. Oh, right. Yes, he did that. Oh, yeah. Right. We've got a couple in there.
He's really old.
Yeah,
it's just like, he's got grey hair now. He doesn't.
You don't.
Not many.
I've just got him on my chest and my beard, so... You know,
it's character.
At least you've got a full head of hair.
It's character. Well, the hat. But yeah, it's going to be a really fun night. It's a really fun set to do. Like the musicians that I play with, they're so incredibly talented, and it's such a joy working with them. And really, it's just having fun. And I feel very silly that I get to call that my job, because essentially I walk on stage vocally. I don't have a clue what I'm going to do, and I just make it up as I go along.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Well, I think that's what it's about when you get on the stage and you're bearing yourself a little bit, as it were. Sometimes you have to do that on the fly. You can't always plan how you're going to do it, And I think anyone listening who's delved into performance, whether that's their life or just even a little bit, will get that. You can't plan for everything.
No, not at all.
So
it's boring if you try and do that. I know, like, there's quite a few singers that like to know like what ad-lib they're doing at what exact moment, and they plan for it. And
I think they do it so they actually shut up, because the ones who like to talk like me, we just wouldn't stop talking. If they say, here, have 2 minutes to talk, you'd be there for 20.
But that's the bit that I find really difficult, like in between the tracks. Like obviously when I was in the band, say there's like 10 moments for talking, I'd only talk for 2 of them. But now I've got to talk for 10 of them.
Yeah.
So I listened back to the show that we did in March at Amira, and I basically say the same thing after every single song, and I'm waffling on, and you can hear the audience being like, will you shut up and sing? And I was like,
play your stomach, we know.
Stop talking, we're not here for a lecture. Like welcome to my TED talk. Like it's informative, kind of. But it's like people don't care for that, so I need to learn that.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's not that they don't care. It's just that maybe, like, it sounds like you've got a lot to say. You're super articulate.
Oh, thank you.
You've got things to say, whether that's musically or, emotionally or whatever. Maybe if there was one thing that you could say over and over again right now to your audience, maybe now's the time to say it. What is that? What would you want to get? What do you want them to get from this album that you're going to perform in full at these gigs?
I think enjoy it. Like take a moment and really enjoy a full body of work, and not even necessarily my album. Even that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Albums in general.
And I could go out and buy an album, buy a vinyl, and sit down with a glass of wine or a coffee or whatever, and just enjoy the music. I think we're in such a world of fast-paced society, I guess. Everything is like Big Mac and fries.
Everything's very on demand, tailored to you, and
everyone wants everything yesterday.
Selective. Yes, true.
Yeah, and even then you've got 10 seconds to get people's attention. So it is really nice. Like I've gone out and bought a load of vinyls recently, and just sitting down with a little glass of something and just enjoying an album is such a joy.
That's how we used to do it, you know.
I do sound like an old man.
No, I get it.
But
I mean, I'm
there's
a
a
music.
beauty in it.
We're both music fans, so like we get it, and hopefully, people listening who are also music fans can get the pleasure of what it feels like to just sit and have an album on and listen to a cohesive piece of work, or what should be a cohesive piece of work. It's
Yeah,
nice.
well, hopefully. But I really think like with this album for me, I think this is the most authentic version of myself I've ever been able to present.
Yeah,
and I think that's really beautiful to be able to do that and tell such personal stories and share so much with people. It does feel like it's a first in being able to do that without kind of feeling like I have to prove a point, like I very much did on the first album, and then also cater for other voices when I was obviously writing for the band. Now I'm just kind of writing naturally and authentically. So it's like a complete introduction to me as an artist rather than a reintroduction.
What's the? Do you still talk to your former bandmates? Because obviously two of them are still touring as Wanted 2.0.
Yeah.
You know, have you sent them the music, or you know, what's your thoughts on it? Because obviously, you know, you said earlier this year that you know that's a closed door for you right now. You know. I mean, I'm sure you still look back at it with fond memories and
Of
what
course.
have you.
Yeah.
You know, I think people are obviously still curious, you know, like how you sort of feel. Do you still send each other music? I don't know. Like, I mean, if you were, it's weird. Sometimes people say like, oh, well, we were bandmates, we were workmates. Then sometimes you're mates as well. You know, how do you feel about it?
I think it's more that. I think if I worked in a coffee shop,
dream job,
dream job. You'd keep in touch with some and others less so. But if you really loved being in the coffee shop, you'd have really fond memories of everyone.
Yeah.
That was really politically correct. I hate being politically correct.
No.
Right, let's go for it. So, I haven't sent music to everyone. I'm seeing Jay in a couple of weeks. Jay's wonderful. And I'm genuinely, like, even though I'm not doing the band stuff with Max and Steve, because for me and Jay, it still feels a little bit too raw. And I think, not talking on Jay's behalf, I think for me, I think to now imagine The Wanted as a 4-piece would have to take a lot of work to be able to get to a place where I can have that sort of vision. But equally, I understand that Max and Steve really want to celebrate the band and look back with complete happiness and play the music for people. And I think they very much feel like with them performing the music, they're very much keeping Tom's spirit alive. So even though we have kind of different opinions on that, neither's wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And both are equally acceptable. So I'm really happy for the guys that they feel like they can do that, because I think it's a beautiful thing. And I wish them nothing but the best. But I think for me, it's really complex. But
I think you've put it great, and I'd appreciate you letting me indulge myself and just asking a little bit about it. But
no, it's great.
Like I said, the album Ultraviolet, we're really excited to get hands on it. Obviously, the first 3 singles are out now. Butterflies is sounding gorgeous.
Thank you.
You've got your 2 gigs at the Deaf Institute in Manchester and Islington. What is it?
Academy.
Islington Academy.
I think one of them.
In London.
Somewhere in Islington.
We've got those 2 gigs coming this month. Very excited for you. Nathan
Thank you
Sykes.
so much.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely.